Hey, what's up guys? Today we're actually going to be looking at the new photo editing software from Skylum, Luminar Neo. This is just going to be my first initial impressions of this actual software itself, and I'm actually really excited to actually go and try it out. A little bit of a disclaimer though, that I actually have used Luminar AI before. Only this last week, I literally just got the free trial, and I've been playing it around and editing not many photos at all, just to try and get a little glimpse of the software, but I've not edited in anything in Luminar Neo before. This is the first time I'm ever going to be actually using this software. All I've done is just add a few photos to actually go through today that we can actually edit a few together. Right then, so this is the actual software itself. It's got the catalog option, and that's the one thing I must say I'm going to actually miss but from Lightroom is all of my catalog. I've got loads of hundreds of photos, and I've all got them singled out in albums, so that will be a little bit of a bummer to miss, but it is nice to see that you can actually have a similar catalog in Luminar Neo. So at the minute, as you can see, I've got 9 landscape photos, just 1 portrait and 2 little wildlife. I like sectioning them out like that just to make me easier when I actually want to go back and actually edit some photos. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to go and edit the first photo. So let's just click this one. This was my drone photo from when I was at Parkhouse Hill in Peak District. And the first thing, you're going to go from the catalogue, you've got all the settings here, so it tells me exactly what settings I actually used. So it was ISO 100, f2.8 and 1/1/2050 per second because I used my DJI Mini 2 and I shot in RAW. So we're going to go straight into it, and the first thing we're actually going to look at is the presets. Now they've actually got a lot of presets here. You've got loads of different ones. So it's got, for this photo, easy landscapes. It can tell it's a landscape photo and it's already going to tell me what presets to use. But I've got to admit, normally I'm a bit wary on using some of these presets in apps, but these ones are actually really good. From the ones I actually used in Luminar AI, I was actually really impressed with some of them as well. But anyway, if we actually have a look, so easy landscape, let's just have a look. So long exposure, what does that do? See, that's a nice one straight away. It just brings out the colours. The sky is a bit blue for me, so if we go on sunset, let's try this one when it loads. That's a nice one. Clean light. Let's wait for this one. That's a bit more of a moodier tone. I quite like that one as well. Neoscape, this is going to be black and white. Yeah, forest stream, that's a nice little one as well. And then snowfall, and then that one, another not moody one. So yeah, they're quite nice. I'm not going to add any of them on, no. This is just some of the, there's loads of them, like big city lights, sunsets, overcast, mother nature. You got ones for portraits, macro, cinematic ones, lifestyle. That's when you go over to the edit tool. Now the thing with this Luminar Neo is there are so many different like AI. I mean, it's the whole point. It's AI, artificial intelligence. It's so smart, this software, what I've seen. I've never used it before, but the one thing I do suggest is if you actually start all your edits in Develop Raw, because this is how you can actually get the most out of your photos. So if you actually start out by using, I don't know, the landscape section, and then maybe you add some Sunrays in, then actually what happens is the Develop Raw goes different, and basically the whole image is wrong. But you've also got layers over here. So this is, I'm not sure quite how this works. So you can load your own image. I think this is meant to be like similar to Photoshop. I think they will obviously get a lot of this better to actually maybe have some more Photoshop tools in it in the future. But I'm not sure how this works, like if you can add like text or whatever on there. But layers, I'm not really going to touch this for now. I think this is just like, it's here and it's a very beginner stage for it. But if we actually come over, you've got tools and you've got edits, and tools is all the different tools you can use. And basically, so you've got enhance AI, and the good thing with enhance AI, if you actually move this slider all the way up, it does a pretty good job straight away. Like, it brightens the image. The sky, I think, is a little bit blue, but still just from one. And then you've also got sky enhancer. That to me, that's just too much. That's basically like dehazing it. I'm not going to touch any of that. But really, that's a really good start. Like, if you actually are a beginner editor and you actually want to quickly try and get a decent photo of your edit your photos, you just push that up and just look at that straight away. And then if you actually see here on the edits, this is actually what has happened. So select a tool to modify steps. So this is what happens now. So you've got, this is the actual edit you've made, and then you've also got masking, so you can brush, linear gradient, radial gradient, mask AI. So you've all got the masking tools like you do in Lightroom. And basically on Develop Raw as well, apparently I've used some of this, but I haven't at the minute, obviously. But I think what people might get confused at, so if you're actually listening now, if you click over Tools again and click Enhance AI, it's back at the bottom. Because we've already used the Enhance AI, basically what it's doing, you can do it on top of each other. So it is kind of like layers over here, but you can layer your actual tools, like what you're actually doing to edit. So if I go back over here again to Enhance AI and I do it up again, it puts 2 Enhance AIs over the top. So as you can see, if I move this down, that's the first Enhance AI, and then we've got another one. And if you go over to Edits now, there's 2 Enhance AIs because we've got them both to 100. So you can add multiple different tools over the top. So if you want more saturation, more this, more that, you can do that just by adding more to the edit section. So it's a cool little way to actually get more out of your actual edits yourself. So obviously I like the shadows a lot. The sky is way too much, but if we just completely just leave the one Enhance AI maybe to about 50 or something. Actually, you know what? I'm going to completely get rid of them all. Let's just delete them, and then let's just start, like I said, on Develop Raw. So Develop Raw, that you can choose your camera profiles. I'm just going to leave it a Luminar default. And here you've got your light, so your exposure, smart contrast, highlights, shadows, blacks, whites, curves, everything you're going to see really in Lightroom. And then you like your temperature, your tint, your saturation, your white balance, sharpness, noise reduction, optics, and transform. So straight away, I'm just going to auto distort the corners and then fix chromatic aberrations, and then auto defringe as well. I may as well just put that in there. So that's the first thing, and then basically we're just doing like a normal one. So you can like up the highlights, or you can lower the highlights. So I'm going to lower the highlights a little bit. I want to up the shadows, but then I also want to lower the blacks. I think as well there's a way, I'm not actually sure how to do it, but there should be a way to get the histogram up. Right click, show histogram, there you go. So now I've got the histogram up there as well. So you can see, obviously I can push the blacks a little bit more, but I don't really want to push the blacks that much. Up the shadows a little bit more than that. So that's where we're at so far. Just basically, it's just editing a photo just like in Lightroom. And as you can see now, it doesn't say Develop Raw. And that's what I was on about earlier. If you start editing in the color or the denoise or the landscape, the actual raw of it for some reason disappears, and you can't stretch the image as much as you want, like I did then with the blacks and the shadows. So I suggest you always start in Develop Raw. Anyway, so you've now got Structure AI, and this is another artificial intelligence. So if we just up this a little bit, I mean, it's basically clarity. Like, look at the detail that's done. And then if we push it all the way, that's a bit way too much. But you can see how much detail, really, it's actually taken out of this image. Obviously, I think that's way too much. Or you can lower it and basically just have a blurry mess. But let's just say I want about 23. That's nice detail. That's bringing out a lot of details into the actual mountain itself compared to when it wasn't. So that's another one. And you can boost it as well. What does this do? That's just basically making it insane. Look, just look how much that is, but we're not going to do that at all. We're just going to up it by 23. So if we actually go over to the edit section now, you've got the structure, what I've just used, you've got the color when I've just done that, and then you've got the develop raw. So no, the develop raw is actually here still, but it's over the edit section. Remember, if I actually start going on tools and going on develop again, all of my adjustments that I've made, so the blacks and the shadows, has been reset. So this is just going to add on top of that. So really, if you do want to come back to the develop raw, make any more subtle changes, you've got to come over to your edit section, and then this is where you can actually start editing what you've actually done to adjust them. So you've got to remember that it is a little bit confusing compared to Lightroom, but that's just what they've done here really. So I'm sure people will get used to it. So that's that one done. If you come down, obviously you've got colour and that. I'm not going to go through everything like that because you know how to edit a photo. But you've got a relight AI. Now, I don't think I'm going to show you this in this photo because obviously I don't think it needs relighting at the minute. I've already done it. So I'll show you that on another photo. You've got atmosphere AI. So this one's a little bit cool because you can add, so you can either add fog, layered fog, mist or haze. So if I wanted to add a little bit of fog, let's up it a little bit. There you go. You can see in the background, it's just adding a little bit of that like atmosphere, like it says atmosphere AI compared to before and after. And what's really, really smart about Luminar Neo, obviously it's artificial intelligence, is it can actually like tell what the 3D image is. So it's not just 2D. So it can tell these mountains are in the background and this is in the foreground. So it actually can tell the 3D-ness. So this is where depth comes into it. So as you can see, look at the fog. It knows where the 3D elements are. So if I want it more in the back, look, I can take the fog off the mountain and just have it in the back there. But if I want it more in the foreground and everywhere, when I move it up, look, the fog suddenly comes all the way to the foreground. You can see it moving. So that's what really is smart with this Luminar Neo, is you can really add, it knows the depth of the image, and this is the lightness of it, so I'll probably want it high. But that's if I wanted to add fog. So let's say I do want to add a little bit of fog just over the top of the mountain there, because that's just what I want it to be at, and I don't want it too much. That's what it was before, and this is what it was after. That's full amount. Look, that's crazy amount of fog. That's just white. So let's just say I want the amount of fog there before and after. Whoops, that's a little bit of fog. So that's another really cool. And you can also, like I said, every single one of these sections, atmosphere, relight, sun rays, dramatic, they all have a masking section. So you can get your brush and you can paint the size of it. And if I want a little bit of fog, just say in the bottom right corner, I'll just paint that. And I'm not sure what's happened, to be honest. What happens when I paint it? I'm guessing if I come back over to adjustments, maybe it's because of the depth. It's because of the depth. There you go. So that's how you can actually get some masking into it as well. I'm not sure how you can. I think if you just go back, then you can do this. That's only for that. Oh yeah, of course, because now that's in the edit section for the atmosphere fog. So see, look, we're learning together. This is the first time I'm using it anyway. So now that's actually in the masking section. And if I want to go back to wherever it was, what was it again? I forgot what I was doing. Atmosphere. This has all been reset so that I can do that again with the depth. I can go back to masking. I can grab my linear gradient. I can grab and draw like that, just like Lightroom, and then I'll go back, and then there you go. The fog is only there, and the reason why it's only in that corner, because remember, it knows the 3D image. So the depth, and there you go, it comes all the way down like that. Look at that. So very smart for obviously what it is. So that's very cool. I'm liking Atmosphere AI. You've also got sun rays as well, so you can literally look, you can place a fake sun. I don't know how real you think this looks to me. That looks obviously fake, but what you can do is you can change the overall look of it. I mean, look, you've got sun ray length, so you can change how much the sun rays. You got that, the difference. You've got the sun settings. You've got ray settings, the warmthness of it. If you want it really warm, it's honestly insane the amount of settings you've got. And you can also place the sun center. And if you don't want it because you think it looks fake there, you can actually place it to the side. And then if I actually place it to the other side, because that's where the sun was, because the sun's actually on it, and you can just put fake sun rays in. Now, obviously, it's up to you how real you can make it look. The more obviously you go into it, the more it's gonna like make it look real. But you've got a little bit of the sun there. If you go before, and I mean it looks pretty cool, to be fair. I mean, you can't actually. There you go. There's more. Obviously, that's ridiculously a lot. But if you just do it like that, so you can add a sun ray. But I don't want a sun ray on this photo, really. That's just a thing. You've got dramatic, toning, and you know what, I'll show you some of these in the other ones as well, because obviously you've got like your own portrait section as well. And then the big one, I think, which is really cool, and you can either go two ways, depends what you feel about it, because a lot of people on Photoshop obviously Photoshop their images, they change the skies, they do all that, loads of photographers do it. But this one obviously is AI. You tell me, leave a comment below if you actually think this is realistic or not. All you do, just say you click this button at the clouds, wait for it to load a little bit, and there you go. And to me, that looks real, that looks super good. And compared to the other image, let's say, that's what it was before and that's after. So you brought the shadows up loads, you've done structure AI, and you've changed the sky, because even though the sky probably didn't need changing, it does look quite good, to be fair. You've got definition in the clouds. But let's just say you've got a really boring, just a grey sky. You add some clouds into it, and tell me if I'm wrong. It's obviously people think they're different things, but to me, that looks real to me. You've got all this different thing. You've got horizontal. You can change it all. Like, that looks a bit weird. You can make it higher. You can change it all like that if you want it like that. But you can even go crazy. And you know what? Why not add some stars and some astrophotography to this as well? Like, look, you can add all this. You've got loads of different ones. That looks sick to me, like when it actually loads in. I don't know when it will load in, if it has loaded in. If we actually, let's go on this one, right? So we've got this one. This one will be a good one. So now I've got added a little bit of foreground in on this one. You can see him. He is in focus. This is a nice photo. But first, what we can do, I'm not even going to go into Develop Raw. I just want to show you what you can do now without Develop Raw. If you just, for hobbyist, a beginner, you just want to edit a photo really, really quickly. You don't want to spend hours or loads of time on this photo. You just want to get it done. So the first thing we're going to do, Relight AI. This is, I think, I'm pretty sure this is only on Luminar Neo and not Luminar AI. So the first thing, brightness near, brightness far. Now, as you can see, obviously the sun's behind him. The actual sheep itself is dark. All you got to do is grab brightness near, pull it up, and it's done nothing. Is it lagging? Oh, yeah, it was lagging. Right. See, look, it is quite slow, I've got to admit. Now, unfortunately, this is where you can change the depth. Now, obviously, because I have something in the foreground, it's not doing it justice, really. But again, it knows, look, it knows where the 3D image is. So you can go all the way back, all the way back. So if I want him, he's relit. If I don't want it all the way, if I want it like that. Now, I think I'm actually going to go to the other one. This foreground does look good, but I think it will look better with this one. We go to the edit, back down to Relight AI, brightness near, when it actually loads. See, this is the one thing I was a little bit wary of when I was actually doing Luminar with Luminar Neo, because Luminar AI was quite slow. So here we go. This is a little bit better. Relight AI. It's a little bit crazy. You can change the depth of it. You can change everything like that. So that's just relit. That's a bit too much. But just say I want it like that. He's now relit quite a lot, to be fair, but the depth obviously is not the best. You can also change the far, so if you want to lower the background, hide the background. And then you've also got, let's try over on other things as well. So you've got split toning. This is basically like the color grading section in Lightroom as well, but it's how they used to old do it. So you change to the highlights, you up the saturation first, so you can see there the highlights, and then you can change it with the hue here. So if you want pink, the sky is now more pink, but then also he's going to be more pink. So same with the shadows, you up the shadows. Just say if you want them green or blue, let's just say like that. You can change the saturation of it like that, and you can also change the amount. So if you don't want it too much or too bad. So if I just move that to 0. It's also got crop AI as well. Let's just see what this is, composition. That's pretty cool, to be fair. I didn't even have to do anything. Like it knew there was the mountain in the background, it knew there was there, and it basically just put the sheep on the actual rule of third on the bottom here, centered him. And if I just click apply, that's the new composition. You've also got a mood. If I showed you that one, no. So if I just up the mood, it's a bit slow for my computer, I think. This is lagging a little bit for me, my liking. This is one annoying thing about it. See, I can't even, the mood's not even working. Glow as well. Okay, the glow's working. So if you want to add maybe more of like a filmic look, so if you want to add it more filmy, you can add a glow to it. You've also got down here super contrast, so you can highlight the contrast of the sky, the midtones, and the shadows as well. Color harmony, and then dodge and burn, whatever this is. No idea what that is. But and again, structure AI. If we just do a bit of structure, that one's pretty cool. I like structure AI. I think that's a good one. Anyway, just before, we won't get into it all. So I've showed you a landscape, and before we do that, let's go back into the landscape because I wanted to show you this. So if you click on landscape, and then this is where your dehaze is. You can only go up, you can't go down. If it works. See, like I said, it's very, there you go, it's done it. But what I also really like about Luminar Neo is this golden hour. So you can fake golden hour. Look at that, it's just nice. It adds that golden glow to your shots, like fake sunrise. Obviously that's too much, but if I had it like 30, I like that. It adds a glow to it. It gives it a little that, and then you've got foliage enhancer as well. Jesus, like that just does all the greens. So do play with that what you want. So that's what the hell is going on. but that's a nice little one here. But if we actually go to the last one, and I'll show you the actual portraits itself. So here's one of me on holiday. Unfortunately, if you've got, if we go down, relight AI, let's just try this again, brightness near. I'm liking this software and I want to use it, but maybe it's because I don't even have anything else open, but it is quite slow compared to Lightroom. I do have to say, it's not doing anything, as you can see, but maybe there's a way to fix that. But if we go down to portrait bokeh AI, now, once it lets me actually do it, oh, this is really slow. It's not letting me do it. It's only just done the relight. Portrait bokeh. So this was already shot. Let's see, does it say? This was already shot at f1.8 with a 50mm. So this is obviously probably not the best photo to do it with because the background's already lovely and blurry. But I don't have one with another one, but just say you want to make it even more blurrier, you come down to portrait bokeh. Before we do that, I actually want to quit this completely just to try and reset. But before I quit it, I want to test something out. Like I said earlier, in Luminar AI, I actually, every time I went to edit a photo, stayed in the app, and then went to export it, it crashed. So is it the same with Luminar Neo? I guess we just have to find out. Right, so I want it full quality because that's what I do always do. Now let's see, exporting. This is where it said it took too much memory up. Is it going to be the same? Because if it is, I think this is going to be unusable for me. Is it still going to export? And here it is. So it didn't quit on me. So that's the first time. Luminar AI did quit on me. Every single time I edited a photo and pressed export, it completely crashed. Luminar Neo, the first one I've exported, and we've actually edited 3 photos as well, it's not crashed. So that's a good sign. It's just the slowness of it. It's a new software. They're going to get better. And I think these are actually based in Ukraine. So I can't actually go too crazy on them at the minute because they've done an amazing job with Luminar Neo. I think it's a very cool software. And obviously, with all the stuff going on in Ukraine at the minute, we've actually got to be more than grateful that we're getting all these extensions in this 2022. So, anyway, if we go back, let's actually just try and edit this photo again. So, if we go on Edits, go down to Portrait Bokeh. So, like I said, it's already at f1.8, it's already at 50mm, but if we put it up, it completely crushes that background even more. I don't think this photo needed it, but for example, if you're shooting at f4, if you're shooting at f6, if you're shooting on a kit lens, and you use this portrait bokeh, as you can see, it will absolutely crush that background. So that's a nice little cool one. You can change the focus, distance, the restore, the softness, the background, everything. Highlights, glow, there's so much here in portrait bokeh. So let's go back down, and then you've got face AI as well. So if I actually zoom in on my face, and then click face light, it lights up my face. It knows where the face is and it lights up my face only. So that, if you, all these radial masks, there it is, there's the radial mask. Slim face, let's give this one a go. Normally slim face, obviously, as it says, it tries to slim the face a bit. Obviously, I don't really would want to do that for anyone, but if they're that desperate for it, then there you go, I guess you can do it. And then, you can change the eyes. Look at all this. Iris flare, enlarge eyes, eye whitening, eyebrows. I've got sunglasses on, you can't see that. Skin AI. Adjustments. It's just taken, and body AI. Change the shape of the body. You know what? I'm just going to leave it at that. That's it. That's the end of the video. It's a very long video. I'll try and cut it down as much as I can. But that's Luminar Neo. From a Lightroom user's perspective, first impressions. And first impressions are very, very mixed. So for the first impressions for the price, £12 I paid for the first month compared to if you was going to pay the Lightroom Photoshop bundle, £20, obviously it's £8 cheaper. However, you don't get nowhere near as the options as you do on Photoshop. They've got the layers section here, so I think they are starting somewhere and they actually will start improving on it as well. I've got to admit, I do like the way it is. I like the way it's laid out. I like all this enhanced AI. I like how I can get quick, nice photos just really quickly with a few click of the buttons. You've got all the nice things that Lightroom has, like the develop raw and everything like that. Structure AI is cool. Relight. You've obviously got HDR merge, which is on Lightroom anyway. Noises AI, which is coming out soon, and obviously so many different, I think 5 other extensions that are actually coming out this year. I can't obviously judge it straight away. I do kind of like it. I don't like it. It is very slow, I must admit. It is quite annoyingly slow as well. Lightroom's really quick, and that's really great about that. very, very slow. The one thing I liked was the export. It didn't crash when I was exporting, because if it did that, I'd get my money back and just stick with Lightroom. So if they can actually bring out some more updates and making it faster and faster, hopefully when Noiseless AI comes out, they can make it even faster and not laggy. I will try and have a little more play around with Lightroom, with Luminar Neo, to actually try and see how quickly you can actually edit it, if it's still slow, and how much it actually annoys me. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of good things to like about it. There's a lot of bad things. This program's only going to get better. This program's only going to get faster as well. So first impressions, I like it, but it can be very annoying. So if they can fix them issues, I really do think Luminar Neo can be a really, really good photo editing app. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Sorry for the long video anyway. If you are still here, thank you very much for watching. And if you did enjoy, hit that like button. And I guess I'll see you guys on the next video. See you later.